Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something new. We are going to go on an artist date. So let's go. As you guys may know from some of my previous videos, I have been reading The Artist's Way, which is a journey of creativity and spiritual changing to kind of unblock you as an artist if you kind of are stuck in an art block, writing block, whatever it may be. That's what this book's about. Julia Cameron, the author, recommends that you go on an artist date with yourself where you just explore as an artist and kind of unleash your inner child just to really hit that peak creativity that you have inside of yourself as an artist. I already do that. Art time for me is like my personal time where I get to just unwind, do art, and get fully immersed into it. So since I kind of already do that on my own, I decided to challenge myself a little bit with these artist dates and decided to change it up a bit and go on an actual date with an artist. So I'm not actually going on a date with an artist, but it's a chance for me to sit down, learn some of their life history, their art history, their experience, their backgrounds, whatever it may be, and really get to understanding their techniques, their art pieces, and their different styles, and to just kind of unpack that for each artist that I go through, and spend time personally to recreate their pieces in my own designs, not necessarily my own styles, because I want to try these different styles to see if I can maybe use them in my art and try some new techniques, new mediums, and new ways of doing things. So overall, I think this will be a fun little creative journey that we can go on and learn more about some artists. Now, I'm going to probably be starting out with some like famous artists, you know, the ones that you see in the museums that make amazing pieces, you know, Monet or Picasso. But I'm also interested in knowing some artists that are maybe not so famous but are alive and well and creating amazing art today, because there are some things from before like oil painting and there are things today like digital art. So I think there is a vast difference between artists then and now, so I would like to explore all of that. So I would love any input on some artists you'd like to see me do next. But I thought today's artist was a perfect one. You may have seen some little sneak peeks on my Instagram at eHailMedia. It will always be linked below, so if you want to go give it a follow, you may get some sneak peeks before YouTube. Today's artist date will be with Mr. Andy Warhol. I thought it was perfect for this vlog to start out with, at least, because Andy Warhol was born and raised here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So what better way to start with a little hometown artist like Andy Warhol. I was also able to stop at the Andy Warhol Museum recently, and you would have seen that in the intro. Those photos were some of his artwork and just the museum in general, the pieces that I liked, that I took pictures of. So those are some little sneak peeks of the Warhol Museum. So we will be having a little art date with Andy later. So what I'm most excited to share before we get into the video is that I am launching a Patreon. I have been subscribers or patrons to other artists and creators' Patreon accounts, and I love the little community that they all created in their Patreons, so I was inspired to do on my own because I would love to grow a little art community here, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on my Instagram with some tutorials and stuff I did. So for my Patreon, I'm going to have 2 tiers. They're inspired by my dogs, if you haven't noticed. So the first one is Atlas's Digipals, and that tier is going to be $2 to $3, and it will include, you'll get access to the digital downloads. So I will be creating monthly phone wallpapers, desktop backgrounds, maybe some digital icons, and just some other digital downloads that you guys can have. And I'll also be having a Discord channel where we can chat about art, we can do little critiques, we can talk about your guys' hobbies. I'll probably send tons of photos of my dogs because they're always being cute and silly. So it'll just be a fun little community space where we can all chat and get to know each other and meet new friends. Other than that, I will be letting you guys in on some polls and some behind the scenes. Sometimes I need help deciding different ways to go with my art, maybe some color palettes, maybe new ideas for the next months. You guys will be there. You'll get a little more behind the scenes exclusive when you're on Patreon, because you will be getting things that people on YouTube and on my social media accounts don't normally get to see. My second Patreon tier, that is what made me really want to start this, is called Odin's Pen Pals. Now you guys probably don't know this about me, but for a couple of years I had at least 20 pen pals at one point. I had so much fun sending mail to other people. I had pen pals from all over the world and in the United States, so I got to meet a ton of different people and it was the best time. My favorite part was creating the mail that you would open. So I would have fun designing a postcard, making the letter all cute, including little fun goodies like some washi tape and stickers, and my favorite part was decorating the envelope. So as soon as you opened up your mailbox and you saw the mail, you instantly got excited to open it up and see what else is inside. So I'm excited to do that again. So this tier, Odin's Pen Pals, will be $10 and you will get a 5x7 art print postcard mailed to you each month. So I will be posting early sneak peeks for these just so you guys can see what the designs are going to be for the next month, so you can choose if you want to keep subscribing to this tier or not, and it's totally fine. You can hop in and out with your tier subscription. I'm always open to suggestions and would love to hear what you guys want in terms of little postcard designs. I'll show you guys the first one now. So this is going to be February's. The reason I started my Patreon this month was because I thought it would be fun and super cute to make it like a little Valentine's gift. So I went with this dove that is carrying a little letter in its mouth, and it has a little bow hanging off of it. All that is very trendy right now, but I was going for, you know, the vintage style Valentine's cards that were out back in the day. So that's where I came up with that one. So I hope you guys like it for this month. And if you do, my Patreon is linked below and you can go ahead and subscribe to that. But in the Odin's Pen Pal rewards, you don't just get the print sent to you every month, you will also get all of the previous rewards from Atlas's Digipals. So you will also get access to the digital assets that I create and you can download, the polls, the Q&A, the Discord chats. But yeah, I will be doing things like Q&As, behind the scenes, and just other exclusive things just for my Patreon family that my regular social media and YouTube will not be seeing, so you will get an exclusive behind the scenes there. I really hope to continue growing this over time as we get more people into this Patreon family. I'm really excited to launch this creative community, so I will see you over in Patreon for some exclusive content. Now let's get into the video. Andy Warhol was born August 1928 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He suffered from a neurological disorder known as St. Vitus dance, which is characterized by involuntary movements which kept him home from school, where he would read Hollywood magazines and play with paper cutouts. Growing up in Depression-era Pittsburgh, there weren't many luxuries, but his parents bought his first camera when he was only 8 years old. He would go and take free art classes before he even got to high school at the Carnegie Institute, which is now the Carnegie Museum of Art. His father saved money to pay for college after recognizing his son's talent, and he attended what is now Carnegie Mellon University. After graduating art school, he moved to New York City to pursue a career as a commercial artist. His first work appeared in Glamour magazine in 1949. He was an award-winning illustrator throughout the 1950s with clients of Tiffany & Co., I. Miller Shoes, Columbia Records, and Vogue. He was known for his Blotted line ink drawings, which was a process he had developed in college and refined in the 1950s, which helped him make quick color and layout changes depending on the client's request. That is what we are doing here. So first I am just tracing the image like Warhol would have done or sketched out previously. So I just took a Vogue magazine, found a bottle of Chanel, and that is what I am using as my inspiration for my Blotted line ink drawing. So this was at the beginning of his lifelong interest to create multiples quickly. He famously quipped, "I want to be a machine," alluding to his interest in mass production. His most notable style, photographic silkscreen printing, replicated the look of commercial advertising. It gave Warhol a faithful duplication of his source images while allowing him to experiment with various techniques, such as overprinting, which is printing one color on top of another, registration, which is aligning colors on a single image, and color combinations. Warhol worked with art assistants and professional printers to produce thousands of silkscreen paintings and print portfolios throughout his lifetime. His mother moved to New York City in 1952. She also loved illustration, so Warhol hired her to add feminine and delicate penmanship to his drawings, ads, album covers, and book illustrations. Take a look into Holy Cats by Andy Warhol's Mother, a book that Andy self-published on behalf of his mom. Andy Warhol's works were ejected from a show in New York City because of the subject matter of men embracing. He was a gay man and homosexuality was criminalized in the 1950s America. But he filled sketchbooks with drawings titled boy portraits that were loving, humorous depictions of the male form. Even in the 1960s, he didn't shy away from sexuality. In the 60s is when Warhol began creating pop paintings with one of his most notable pieces of his career, the Coca-Cola bottle. He didn't just switch to silkscreen from hand painting overnight, he started to blend pop art and abstraction, which he picked up later in the 1980s. Warhol turned to perhaps his most notable style, photographic silkscreen printing, in 1962. The silkscreen process allowed him to easily reproduce pop culture images, with his first portraits being Miss Marilyn Monroe, made from one of her movie films. In 1962, he began a series of celebrity portraits featuring Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, and Elizabeth Taylor. The famous Campbell soup cans were debuted in his first solo pop art exhibit in Los Angeles in 1962. In 1964, Warhol moved to a loft at 231 East 47th Street in Midtown Manhattan. Warhol collaborator Billy Name decorated the space with silver paint and aluminum foil, and it became known as the famous Silver Factory. It was a creative hub for parties and experimentation, from drug use to music and art. Its popularity grew quickly and it attracted a diverse and inclusive crowd of artists, friends, and celebrities, many of whom posed for short. Warhol was a regular at the New York disco Studio 54 in the 1970s, and he received hundreds of portrait commissions from wealthy socialites, musicians, and film stars. He remained in the spotlight in the 80s with his television work and high fashion modeling. As Warhol achieved stardom, he helped others do the same, realizing his expression, "In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes." He took interest in television and produced 2 TV shows, Andy Warhol's TV and Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes for MTV. He also made some television appearances, including SNL, and he appeared in television commercials, music videos, fashion shows, and more. He continued his artistic experimentation of digital artworks in 1985. On February 22, 1987, Warhol died in a New York hospital in Manhattan due to complications following a surgery to remove his gallbladder. He's buried next to his mother and father at a church in Bethel Park, a suburb south of Pittsburgh.